Hey guys, so Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is back. This is season 12B, episode 15. So basically, the first part of season 12 was the first 14 episodes. So that was 12A. And then now we're doing 12B, which will probably be another 15 episodes or so. And then hopefully after that, we'll actually get a reunion because the entire season 12 will be completed. And if you're watching this on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube because TikTok will be going January 19th. Okay, so let's just go over what the general plot was from the first part of the season. Spice was doing the cast album and everybody was basically dissing each other. And the plan was to tour the cast album, and it seems like they've made their way to London for this second half of season 12. And Spice said there's a lot going on, but even if she has to play peacemaker, they going to London. I know there's beef between Bambi and Amy, and I know there's beef with Scrappy and Khaotic. Both of those beefs were already brewing in the first half. Because Bambi and Amy was friends, and then Bambi started dating Amy's ex from like 15 years ago. Amy felt the way about it. Bambi was saying that Amy shouldn't even care about no guy she dated 15 or 20 years ago. And then Scrappy and Khaotic basically fell out because they had a YouTube together. Khaotic said he was doing all of the work. Scrappy wasn't doing nothing. So he eventually took Scrappy off the channel, and I'm assuming stopped splitting the money with him. I also think some of their beef is rooted in women because Khaotic used to talk to Amy, and then Scrappy was kind of talking to Amy after. And then obviously Scrappy was married to Bambi, and Scrappy felt like Bambi and Khaotic used to be flirting. So surprisingly, Scrappy sits on Bambi's lap while they're sitting there checking into the hotel. And I'm like, oh, you guys are on much more friendly terms than y'all was. And they playing a lot of UK drill music in the background in between the scenes. I want to hear See China. I'm pegging that man at the back of the bus. So Carly's here, even though she's not performing. She says she tagged along to the trip just to support everybody. Carly says she's still with the guy Tilo from last season. I think from Now That's TV or whatever. And Spice did say that she decided against doing a whole tour. So they're just going to do one show or a couple of concerts in London. So they have UK dancehall artist Lisa Mercedes there. She's greeting everybody and basically telling them that Spice was busy. So she's just here to help them get settled and basically show them around for their first day. I didn't know who she was at first, but she basically mentioned, like, y'all know who I am. I got songs with Nicki Minaj. I got songs with Vybz Kartel. When Nicki did that Little Miss Fine 9 remix, Lisa Mercedes was on that. And so was Spice. So we see Amy and Khaotic walking up, and she said that this is going to be awkward because this is going to be the first time she saw Scrappy since he blocked and unfollowed her. So she said Scrappy is scrapped. This sounds like he scrapped you. And we also see that it's very awkward between Khaotic and Scrappy, and they basically haven't seen each other since Scrappy tried to run up on him at their last rehearsal. Lil Zane is there by himself. He needed to bring Ashley, but basically they just sightseeing right now. They on one of those big red like sightseeing buses, and they just went past Big Ben and all the landmarks basically. But Lil Zane was basically saying that him and Ashley aren't in a good place, not saying that he would do nothing, but what happens in London stays in London. A mess. This is why she needed to come and be on your ass. And then Zane was joking with Scrappy, and he was like, you out here in London with your ex-wife, are y'all gonna rekindle? And Scrappy was laughing like, stop playing with me. But like I said, him and Bambi are definitely getting along now. I would not be surprised. So back in Atlanta, we see Mendices and Kirk meeting up to basically play basketball. And Mendices is like, I know y'all want to believe all those rumors about me cheating on Yandy or us not being together, but we're better than ever. And basically he said he is wearing his ring again now and it's not coming off. So when Kirk came in, he was basically saying how Jock is on his way to meet them too. And he was like, me, Mendices, and Jock have all been in the doghouse. So hopefully some of that dust has settled. When Jock gets there, he basically said that him and Kendra are in a much better place than they were when we last saw them. He's not saying it's perfect, but it's a lot better and they're striving to be perfect. And Mendices basically said he's trying to brush things off with Kirk, but he is still kind of feeling away because he feel like Kirk kind of pulled him into his problems. When Jasmine was exposing Kirk and saying like, oh, I got these text messages against you and I'm going to tell Rashida, it kind of became a thing where she also started saying, oh, Mendices be at my bar and I'm going to tell Yandy because Yandy and Rashida are friends. And Kirk kept mentioning it at different times when he didn't need to. Like, focus on yourself and Jasmine and those text messages. Why you keep bringing up Mendices if that's your bro, like throwing him under the bus? Now, Jock said that Kendra has an old friend who's in the NFL and he's getting a bag. It was supposed to be like a bro-sis relationship. They never messed around from what Jock knows. But the other day he saw a text message from the guy saying, you so beautiful, heart eyes. And Jock basically said Kendra was like, thank you, bro, blah, blah, blah. Like, she kind of kept it platonic. And like checked it low-key. But Jock said that when he kept reading down the thread, it kept happening. Like the guy is continuously trying to flirt. And I guess Kendra is kind of dodging it, but she ain't cutting off the conversation. And then Jock said when he looked at the DM, so I guess this is in the DMs, not the text messages. He said in the bottom, it was on vanish mode on Instagram. And for those who don't know, it's a way for you to send messages on Instagram that disappear after a certain time. And then Mendices said how him and Yandy are going to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago to hear Kamala Harris speak. And Jock said that he would be there as well, and so would Kendra. So remember in the first half of the season, Carly and Bambi were beefing because Bambi had a conversation with Tilo, Carly's boyfriend or fiance, to plan a surprise birthday party for her. Carly got upset about it and basically said that Bambi shouldn't be talking to her man if she's not present, even if it's to plan a surprise party for her. So Bambi was like, girl, get the fuck out of here. Like, I was being a good friend to you, trying to be there for you, trying to plan something for you. So they ended up having a confrontation and Bambi threw her phone at Carly's head. But then they ended up talking stuff out towards the end of the season. So Carly is sitting down with Bambi right now in London. And she basically says she just wants to talk to her since they just got here and just make sure that all of their issues are smoothed out and that nothing like last season happens again this season. So Carly and Bambi basically just agreed that they're going to be rebuilding their friendship while they're here. And Carly said that she hopes that her and Spice can do the same thing because they're not as close as they used to be either. So then Carly asked Bambi, like, what's really going on with Khaotic and Scrap? Because, you know, a lot of people think it's fake. And Bambi was like, no, it's definitely real. So now we see Yandy, Mendices, and Kendra in Chicago getting ready for this Democratic National Convention. Yandy said that Jock was out handling some other business concerning the convention, so she took Mendices and Kendra with her to this Black Wealth Coalition panel. So Yandy's up there on the stage looking like Coretta Scott King, giving a speech as usual. So Kendra just said that she was really proud of Jock for getting involved in politics and trying to help Kamala win the race. So then Yandy, Mendices, and her were sitting down, and Yandy asked, you know, how is you and Jock's relationship these days? So Kendra basically said that, you know, after everything that happened in the blogs with Jock being seen with that woman who he worked with or whatever, that he's been trying to keep her very close and, you know, been taking her on more dates and stuff like that, trying to stay on her good side, basically. So then Kendra started telling them about this NFL guy, and she was like, you know, he used to play for the Panthers and he reached out to me about some real estate. You know, he's a friend from the past. And Kendra was like, of course, I was here for the business. I'm a realtor. So I said, what's up? So we started talking about it. And she was like, I'm not saying Jock be going through my phone, but he basically mentioned to me, like, would I work with somebody who has a crush on me? And in her confessional, she was basically like, maybe he does have a crush on me. But Jock has done business with people several times who have a crush on him. So, of course, Mendices was just sitting there smiling and quiet the whole time while Yandy and Kendra was talking. So the producers asked him in the confessional why he didn't say anything to Kendra about what Jock said. And Mendices said, because I'm all about bro code. I'm doing what Kirk should have did for me. I'm not going to throw my bro under the bus and say, yeah, he did go through your phone. Like, what? So we see Ciara, and she basically said that she wasn't able to make it to London because she's getting married right now. On the first half of the season, we basically saw her start dating and get engaged to this new guy who she basically said she knew for years. And they were just friends because Ciara was married to Shooter, but he always wanted her. And she was like, you know, he wanted me before I had any surgery, when I was bigger. And I just feel like he really likes me for me. And she basically said it was bittersweet because her mom and her sisters aren't there because they're still not on good terms. And also, basically, none of her castmates or friends are there because they're all in London. So they literally just went to the courthouse. Ciara has on a black jumpsuit. He has on a big white t-shirt with some brown cargo pants and some sneakers. But it was nice to see that both of their dads were there. And of course, Ciara's daughter, Paris. So they sealed their vows and they kissed. It was a very beautiful and intimate moment. So now we're back in London and we see Zane and Lil Scrappy meeting up just to take a walk in the park. And Zane basically said he just wants to talk to Scrappy about the beef with him and Khaotic because he doesn't want another brawl to break out while they're here. And he also basically said he feels caught in the middle because he's friends with both of them. So Scrappy basically said him and Khaotic are not friends, they not boys, and there's no way for Khaotic to make it right unless he give him his money. And he said at this point, I'm not even saying he need to give me half of the money off of every video, but he need to give me at least 5 bands. And he said, I know he made way more than that. And the crazy thing is that the first episode he got is his highest viewed episode. And that episode has all of my family in it. And they showed a clip and it was basically Imani's birthday, Scrappy's daughter. So yeah, that is kind of crazy. I feel like if he was giving Scrappy the money every month up until that point, he should have just gave him the last month when they fell out. And then you could have like took his name off and did everything by yourself going forward. But anything that he was a part of or his name was still on the channel at the time, he definitely should be getting half of. Because Khaotic said Scrappy wasn't putting in no work, but you should have cut him off earlier then. Up until you decided to actually cut him off, he has to get paid. And then they started talking about this diss song that Khaotic did to Scrappy. And Scrappy was like, I don't even care about that because I'll beat his ass for real. And Zane was basically saying this is not going how he thought it was going to go. He didn't even know the beef between them ran this deep. And after him hearing that Khaotic ran off with the money, he feels like he could no longer be neutral. So I guess he's going to be Team Scrappy. So back in Atlanta, we see Ciara, her daughter, her new husband, Zay, and their dad sitting down for dinner. And this is basically their wedding reception. I hope that this works out for Ciara because she kind of was becoming like a Carly where she was constantly getting engaged and married and it wasn't working out and just all her relationships on the show seemed messy. But so far with him, there hasn't been any mess. And her daughter and dad seem to really like him and feel like he's genuine. The daughter said, like, you really stepped up for me and I appreciate you. And the dad was like, I've gotten nothing but good vibes from you. Ciara's dad was saying that he wants them to all make amends. And Ciara was just saying she don't know if the situation with her mom and her sisters could be fixed. So Ciara and Zay were basically just saying that the mom and the sister have said so many untrue things about them, and this was public and online. And then Zay's dad chimed in and basically said it's hard to have a brother-sister relationship with somebody who's constantly in competition with you. And Ciara started clapping because she basically feels like all of her sisters are jealous of her because she's successful. So now we see Kendra and Jock at this comedy show, and basically Jock was like opening and introducing the comedian. But in his confessional, he was like, he's happy that he's getting this quality time because he wants to get to the bottom of those messages that Kendra had with the NFL guy. Okay, so I may be wrong, but Jock slipped up in his confessional and he said, I'm kind of annoyed with this Kendra and Mario thing. This whole time they wasn't giving his name. So I just Googled Mario NFL Panthers because that's the clues that we had. And a guy named Mario Addison came up. So y'all can Google him if y'all want. So Jock and Kendra go outside to basically get a drink and they're just talking outside. And he asked her, so what's really going on with you and Mario? So Kendra basically said it's business and I don't want you to feel no type of way. And Jock said, you don't want me to feel no type of way, but how would you feel if I was doing business with a woman who was constantly sending me heart eyes in the DMs? And Kendra said, you probably feeling so weird about it because you insecure and you the one who be really doing stuff. So Kendra was like, so did you go through my phone? And Jock was like, yes, I did. So Kendra was like, I'm not about to play with you like that. You could go play with your kids and your baby mamas. And he said, yeah, you could talk all that shit because I'm about to break you the fuck down. Now, if you've been watching this show, you know that certain words I notice really trigger Kendra. I feel like she might have an abusive past, verbally or physically, I don't know, but she will get triggered over certain words. So him saying the word break triggered her. And she was like, you can never break me. You would never break me. So she said, I'm trying to get some money. And he said, well, go get some money with somebody who ain't trying to F on you. And then once again, she was saying, you could never break me. Never. And then Jock got really mad. They started saying F you to each other. And Jock walked back in the club and basically was like, I'm done with you. You're dead to me. Divorce, bitch. I've never heard him call Kendra out of her name, like a bitch or nothing. As much as he's not faithful, I've never heard him disrespect her. But we back in London. Scrappy don't got no type of bro code. He in his confessional snitching on Zane, knowing Ashley gonna see this, saying that Zane has been very flirty with Lisa Mercedes, but he's being careful, and that whenever the camera goes this way or that way, that's when he'll get touchy-feely. So he probably would have got away with it if it wasn't for Scrappy telling on him. And Scrappy also had his phone out recording him and Lisa basically moving away from him. And Scrappy was like, yeah, she moved away from you because she tired of you flirting with her all day. So Amy basically said Scrappy was weird and he blocked her and unfollowed her for no reason. So she's going to approach him and ask him what's going on with that. And Scrappy basically said at the end of the day, you was into it with my baby mama and I had to get out of that because she started beefing with Bambi. And the producers kind of called Amy out in her confessional. They said on Instagram, you keep claiming that you and Scrappy barely dated and that your relationship was edited weird on the show. So why are you in your feelings about him unfollowing you on Instagram? So Bambi and Carly are coming. So obviously they're all meeting up for dinner. And Bambi was like, I'm hoping that there's no smoke with me and Amy tonight. And also no smoke with Scrappy and Khaotic. But you never know because we know who we dealing with. And they about to act up in front of this big UK rapper, Big Tobes. He's there to do an exclusive performance for them. So Scrappy, Zane, and Bambi was sitting there, and Scrappy going to bring up how Zane said him and Bambi going to rekindle their relationship. And Bambi was like, oh, well, Scrappy vibes with a lot of girls, so. And in her confessional, she said, this is what Scrappy always does when he knows I'm about to move on. He want to try to slide back up in my space, but I'm not spinning the block this time. And I hope she stands on it, because it seems like Erica denied spinning the block eventually, too. And he needs to understand that that little rotation that he had 10 years ago, Shay, Bambi, Erica, they all need to be tired of you. Diamond, too. Stop having him think he that nigga and he just got 4 or 5 girls on rotation for 10 plus years. So luckily, Big Tobes did his performance and he got up out of there. So Zane is just sitting at this dinner table flirting with Lisa, talking about Lisa from London. Carly hit him. Bambi said you're doing too much. And Amy said, I already told him I'm downloading Ashley on the entire trip. So his ass is definitely going to be in trouble. So Carly says to Bambi and Amy that she's happy to see them being able to sit here and coexist. And she was like, you know, Bambi, we apologize. How about you and Amy apologize? And Bambi was like, we don't got to apologize. We coexisting. And Amy was like, but I actually want to apologize. And Bambi was like, okay, well, I didn't want to force it. So they basically talked it out, apologized, and acknowledged that they were kind of building a friendship before all of this happened. So maybe they should have had another conversation before it just became an all-out beef. So Bambi was in her confessional basically saying, since the women were able to talk things out, I'm hoping Khaotic and Scrappy can do the same. And then Amy asked at the table, like, can we have a conversation between you two and try to get somewhere with this? So while the ladies were trying to talk to them, Khaotic was just like, once somebody don't feel like I'm a good person, they should just stick to that and stay where they at, and I'm going to stay where I'm at. Scrappy was kind of just not even paying attention, trying to act like he wasn't listening. And then Carly was like, stop doing that, Scrappy. And he was like, okay, maybe I did take certain things the wrong way, or maybe I did go a little bit too hard. So I do want to apologize to Khaotic. So everybody was like, oh, okay, we're getting somewhere. And then Scrappy says, not, because I don't give a fuck. And Scrappy was like, he said if somebody don't feel like they a good person in his life, they should stay where they at. So we on the same page. And then Khaotic was like, well, I never said I had a problem with him. And Scrappy was like, this is what he always do. He talk crazy and then he tried to say it's no beef or it's no problem. So Khaotic said, you know what your problem is? And Scrappy said, I ain't got no problem. He stood up, started trying to charge at Khaotic, telling him he'll beat his ass. But the security got in between them. And Khaotic was like, you had 1,000,000 times to do that. And Scrappy was like, let's do it now. Let's go outside. Now, I don't know how Khaotic gets down, but please be careful because I don't want you to end up like Stevie J. And Khaotic was like, you do it for the TV, you do it for the cameras. Why you waited to do all of this with me when the cameras is on? So then Khaotic says he's a bitch, and Scrappy picks up a glass and throws it across the room. A bitch move. And it looked like the glass hit Amy. So the episode ends here. So I will see y'all next week for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Season 12B, Episode 16. And if you're watching this on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube because TikTok will be going January 19th, which is only 10 days away. Okay, I'll see y'all later. Bye.